Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Sri Vrundinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan Ki Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna. So today we are going to see the concluding chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the last chapter, chapter 19, the appearance of Śukadeva Gosvāmī. Last week we saw how Parishit Maharaj went on a hunting expedition, and then he was feeling very hungry and thirsty. He goes to the ashram of Shamika Rishi, because Shamika Rishi was deep in trance in his meditation. Parishit Maharaj felt that he's being indifferent, even to the extent that he's even neglecting his presence there. So in the spur of the moment, he picks up the dead snake which was lying nearby and garlanded Shamika Rishi with that dead snake, and he goes back to his palace. Meanwhile, when the son of Shamika Rishi, Shringi Brahmana, who was just a young boy, when he came to know about what had transpired in the ashram of Shamika Rishi, without even inquiring, without even giving any due diligence, he pronounces a curse that in the next 7 days, the king would be killed, being bitten by a snake bird. And when Shamika Rishi comes to know about this curse, he chastises his young son. And then he also tells him that Parishit Maharaj was such a great king. He has been giving protection, just like how a father would do for all the children. And he had done a very grave mistake. And Srila Prabhupada explains how the fall down of the Brahmanical class started from this particular incident. So when Shamika Rishi comes to know about this curse, he sends the message to Parishit Maharaj. Meanwhile, Parishit Maharaj, after garlanding Shamika Rishi with the snake, he goes back feeling guilty. So that's how this chapter starts. The chapter is titled The Appearance of Śukadeva Gosvāmī. So when Parishit Maharaj goes back to the palace, he is reflecting. Many times we do things without thinking much, being overcome by emotion, being overwhelmed by the situation around us, pressure around us. So we may act in a way which is not really, or which is contrary to the scriptural injunctions. But then when we act in haste, it is said that we'll regret in leisure. So that's why we need to think before we act, look before you leap. So here, Parishit Maharaj, after having dealt with the Shamika Rishi in that way, which is not appropriate as per the etiquette, because Brahmanas are always the head of the society and they are supposed to be respected by all the other 3 classes, especially by the Kshatriya class. In fact, it's for the very same reason when Kshatriyas went against Brahmanas, did Parashuram, he went on a killing spree, wiping out the entire Kshatriya races for more than 20 times. We see that. So here, Parashit Maharaj, he felt it's so unbecoming of me to have acted in this way. So because I acted in an inappropriate way, I deserve some calamity. Prabhupada explains in Vedic times, capital punishment is given so that if a person has committed a sin, the person will be punished in that birth itself. Otherwise, if they evade the law of dharma, law of karma also, that in the next life, law of karma will still punish such person, but the person will have no idea why they are getting punished. Many times we think life is being so cruel. Even law of karma doesn't seem to work well for me. No, we have no idea. We have no memory of what all atrocities we did in our previous lives. We don't know. So best is to surrender to Krishna and pray to Krishna to give us the intelligence, to give us the maturity to accept that whatever that comes to us doesn't come to us undeserved. In Tamil, we have a saying, Thidum Nandrum Pirar Taravara, which means the good or bad that happens to us, it's not sent by others. It's been sent by ourselves. That's all it means. Which means whatever activities that we do, they determine what's going to come to us as the consequence. And only we are the sole reason for whatever that's happening to us. So here, when he is reflecting upon his act, he feels I did something wrong and I desire some calamity happen now so that my indifference towards or my offense towards that Brahmana can be nullified now itself rather than it being perpetuated in the future. Because the more one tries to adjust to the law of karma in their own speculative way, more they'll end up doing a lot of more karmic activities, which will in turn invite many more sinful reactions. So here, when Parashit Maharaj is thinking this way, that I desire some calamity that will come as a punishment. And then he says, let the fire of the Brahmana burn up my kingdom, strength, and wealth. Burn up my kingdom here doesn't refer to so much him desiring let all the citizens be punished. Not like that. But his attachment to being a king, or at least he thought so, even though he's a Rajarishi, pure devotee of the Lord, may my attachment be burnt by the strength of the Brahmana's fury. May my kingdom, my strength, wealth, may everything be taken away because I have caused distress to a Brahmana. So while repenting this way, Shamika Rishi had already sent the message to Parashit Maharaj. And Prabhupada elaborates that in the purport. Shamika Rishi was actually feeling very morose that his son has done such a grievous mistake. Ideally, he should have gone directly to Parashit Maharaj to apologize for being inappropriately or disproportionately being cursed. But Shamika Rishi was feeling so guilty that he didn't want to go in front of Parashit Maharaj and embarrass him. Likewise, Parashit Maharaj also, after hearing the curse, he could have actually gone straight again back to Shamika Rishi and asking for forgiveness. But Parashit Maharaj didn't because he knew what was going on in the heart of Shamika Rishi. He is having repentance, and so did Parashit Maharaj himself. But Parashit Maharaj felt he is already feeling guilty, repenting the mistake of his son. So me going in front of him will only embarrass him more, which Parashit Maharaj didn't want to do. So Parashit Maharaj also didn't see Shamika after that, nor did Shamika Rishi come in front of Parashit Maharaj. He just sent the message through one of the messengers. Prabhupada also explains one beautiful point. In this whole Leela is being orchestrated by the Supreme Lord himself. Otherwise, there is no question of Parashit Maharaj being cursed or killed by anything material. Parashit Maharaj's name itself is Vishnu Rata. Vishnu Rata means one who is protected by Vishnu. Where is death here? So he is already mortal. But in order for Srimad Bhagavatam to be spoken, so that's the bigger plan of Krishna. He wanted Srimad Bhagavatam to be spoken between Parashit Maharaj and Śukadeva Gosvāmī. He also wanted Parashit Maharaj to be glorified this way also. And Parashit Maharaj himself will share shortly in this chapter itself how he knew about the plan of the Lord. When he speaks to the sages, he would say it as well. But here, at this point, Parishit Maharaj just accepts everything. Prabhupada says the reason why in all of this whole Leela, Krishna had engaged a small boy to curse Parishit Maharaj, uh, Uttama Bhagavata, pure devotee of the Lord, is because if a child is actually committing any mistake, the child can easily be forgiven. So when Shamika Rishi is actually feeling morose and he's praying to the Supreme Lord, my Lord, I'm asking forgiveness on behalf of this foolish boy, please forgive him. Prabhupada says, because it's a small boy, it's easy for Krishna to forgive him. So that's why Krishna engaged a small boy to punish Parishit Maharaj. Imagine in the place of that small boy, there is a grown up adult or a Brahman or even a Kshatriya who did that offense. For that offense of cursing Parishit Maharaj, that person has to be suffering in hell for many, many long years. So Krishna didn't want one other jiva to go through that. It's for his leela, so he engaged one small boy. So in this way, this whole pastime is unfolding here. Parishit Maharaj, after he hears the curse, he immediately installs his son Janamejaya on the throne as the king, and then he goes to the bank of a river, transcendental river, it's given. This river, it is in verses, it's actually said as Ganga. Prabhupada elaborates that in the purport that Parishit Maharaj left and he sat on the banks of a transcendental river. Amartya it's given, transcendental. Now, whether this is, according to some Acharya's opinion, this is Ganga. According to some other Acharyas, it's Yamuna. And Prabhupada gives the verdict, quoting Srila Jiva Gosvāmī. According to Jiva Gosvāmī, Parishit Maharaj actually went and sat on the banks of Yamuna. And Prabhupada says, even geographically speaking, Parishit Maharaj is actually ruling the entire Jambudvipa, keeping Hastinapur as the capital. And river Yamuna is just flowing by the side of his palace, Prabhupada is saying. So then what's the need for him to go and seek Ganga? And secondly, Prabhupada says, between Ganga and Yamuna, Yamuna's water are actually more sanctified than Ganga. Even though they both have washed the lotus feet of Krishna, they carry the beautiful Padaduli or the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. They also carry the aroma of the Tulsi leaves as well. But still, when the water of Ganga is sanctified or purified 100 times, then it's known as Yamuna. And Prabhupada also supports the point by saying when Krishna came down to perform his pastime 5,000 years ago, and when Krishna was actually being carried by Vasudev on a basket from Mathura, the jail in Mathura, all the way to Gokula. At that time, when he was carrying, River Yamuna was actually feeling very, very much a separation, because imagine if Supreme Lord is there just right behind the door, how much anxious you will be to go and meet. Like that, Yamunaji is there. Vasudev is carrying baby Krishna in the basket, and Yamunaji is trying to see. Her waters are trying to see. That's her personality. They are trying to see where is baby Krishna. But because she couldn't actually reach, she raised the level. Meanwhile, Krishna is also thinking, baby Krishna, I came down here to enjoy rasa, parental rasa of my parents. But here Vasudeva is too much conscious of my supreme position, so he's treating me as God. This is not good. So baby Krishna thinking that way, he rolled off the basket deliberately, entering into the waters of Yamuna. Meanwhile, and by doing so, he satisfied the desires of Yamunaji to touch his lotus feet. And Yamunaji is very happy now serving, doing Abhishek for baby Krishna. Meanwhile, Vasudev, while he was carrying, suddenly he sees, why is it light? Then he sees baby Krishna is gone. Now his Aishwarya Rasa, the mood of awe and reverence, is now being dominated by its Vatsalya Bhava, where he's thinking, oh, my son, my beta, where is he? Now he is actually plunging into the waters and he's searching. And then now baby Krishna is satisfied. Okay, now my dad is treating me like a child and my dad is feeling like a dad. Then he allows himself to be captured again and then he goes. So this whole Leela Prabhupada explains in the purport. And later also, when Krishna spent close to 12 years in Vrindavan, there are many, many pastimes. It is said that when Kalyash was poisoning the waters of the Yamuna river, Krishna could have killed Kali in so many ways, but Krishna deliberately jumped into the waters to simply to purify it of all the poison which it had spread by then. So there are many pastimes which Krishna performed on Yamuna waters. So here, Prabhupada actually explains that this is the reason why Jiva Goswami says Parishit Maharaj went and sat on the banks of Yamuna. So one other context Prabhupada gives is, even though some of these verses they mention Ganga, and Prabhupada cites, according to scriptures, river Yamuna is also called as Ganga in some other places. So in this way, even the word Ganga is given in these verses. Prabhupada cites Srila Jiva Goswami and establishes actually Parishit Maharaj sat on the banks of Yamuna. And then the glories of Ganga is given. Yavaila Sachri Tulasi Vimrisha Krishna Ngriren Vabhyatikam Bunetri Punati Lokan Ubayadra Seshan Kastam Naseveta Marishyamanaha. So now Parishit Maharaj goes to the banks of Yamuna, and then he has decided to fast until death. Why? Because he wanted to accept the curse of the Shringi Brahmana. Now, when Parishit Maharaj goes there, the position of Parishit Maharaj is not known just for the people in Jambudvipa, in this Bhumandala, but people in all the 14 planetary systems know about him. And there is a list of all sages that's given. And if I read that, you will understand how great and how important and how influential a personality Parishit Maharaj was. When Parishit Maharaj has come to the banks of Yamuna and he's seated there, ready to fast, he is seated on a mat of straw. At that time, all these great sages came from different planetary systems, and they came from different parts of the universe. And these sages, their names are given here. There are many: Atri, Chavana, Sharadvan, Arishtanemi, Brigu, Vashishta, Parashara, Vishwamitra, Dvaipayana, which is Vyasadeva himself, Narada, Deva Rishis, Brahma Rishis, Raja Rishis, Arunas, demigods also are given. Everyone was there. Why? Because they knew the birth of Parishit Maharaj was marked by an extraordinary event. How Krishna went and protected himself, protected Parishit Maharaj himself within the womb, even before he was born. So they know such a pure devotee, and they have been observing him, observing his activities, observing how under his rule this whole world is actually thriving spiritually. And now such a great personality, when he is going to quit his body, they know very well that also he'll do it in a very exemplary way, and they didn't want to lose that opportunity to witness that event. So they have all come from different parts of the universe on the plea of visiting a place of holy place. And here Parishit Maharaj actually would say the reason why they are all assembled there is because Krishna wanted to show favor to him, simply because of him being related to the Pandavas. So here Parishit Maharaj, when he sees all of them, he receives them properly, bowing down his head. If it had been his palace and if he had been the king, even at that point, he would have welcomed them in a very, very opulent way. But at this point, he could just greet them with words. He could just bow down to them, welcoming all of them and making sure everyone is comfortably seated. When all the sages are in this way seated there, at that time Parishit Maharaj goes in front of them, and then he humbly submits himself to them. He says, indeed, we are most fortunate to get favors of the great souls. Generally, sages considered royalty as a refuse to be rejected, like a stool. Sages just don't even go unless and until they have something valuable which they want to give to the king. They usually don't do that. They just reject royalty. That being the case, you have all now voluntarily come here simply to benefit me. So Parishit Maharaj is humbly submitting himself to the sages. He says, due to my being attached to family life, when we read these verses, we can understand the mood of Parishit Maharaj. Even though the whole world glorifies him, all pure devotees, sages, Shastras glorify him, he never thought he is the most exalted personality. His mood is due to my being attached to my family life, even though he wasn't. The Lord, in order to save me, has appeared in the form of Brahmana's curse. This is very, very important, because normally when something bad happens to us, we always put the blame on other people, and we always like to play victim. This feelings of self-pity, this feelings of being or victimhood, they are all detrimental. Sometimes when there is a perpetrator who really caused us a harm, we have to take some steps, no doubt about it, but we can't keep that as our rasa for rest of our life and keep blaming. You will come across sometimes, even among devotees, they'll go pick some fault, pick another fault, another fault, another fault. They'll always try to actually play being victim. That is actually very detrimental for the spiritual progress, because if we keep on playing victim for every single step in every single instance, blaming others, then there's no spiritual growth at all. We have to understand at some point that all of us have a karma baggage which we have done. So the question we have to ask ourselves when something negative happens is, did I do something wrong? Is there something that I did to my knowledge which has caused this? Is there something that I can do to adjust it? That is taking responsibility. Spiritual life means we need to take responsibility for ourselves. Tidum nandrum pirar taravara. Good and bad doesn't come to us being sent by others. We cause it. Prabhupada says man makes his own destiny. So it's totally up to us. So here we see Parishit Maharaj, he is actually saying, Lord, in order to save me, has appeared in the form of Brahmanas, because he is taking responsibility. He is not playing blame game here. He is not playing victim. He is simply seeing the hand of Krishna. So when something bad happens to us, we should pray to Krishna. My dear Lord, I know it has come to me, so I deserve this. Please give me intelligence so that I can understand your hand. Please make me understand that despite me being in this most challenging circumstances, you haven't forsaken me and you are still helping me and guiding me, and you will help me go through this. Come out unscared. That's a proper mood of a devotee. So here Parishit Maharaj says, the Lord, in order to save me, has appeared in the form of a Brahmana's curse, by which I'll be able to detach myself from the world. So what is seen as a curse, Parishit Maharaj sees in from a completely different perspective. He sees this as a blessing. Blessing for what? A blessing for being detached from this world, blessing for going back to Godhead. That is the ultimate goal. And then he says, let all of you and Mother Ganges accept me. Again, here Ganga is referred for Yamuna. Let all of you and Mother Ganges accept me as a surrendered soul, for I have taken Lord Vishnu into my heart. Let that snake bird bite. He's saying, Takshaka, you can come and bite, no problem. But I have 7 more days. I simply desire to continue here and sing the glories of the Lord. Tammopayatam pratiyantu vipra ganga cha devi drita chittamishe dvijopashrishta kuhakas takshakova tastva lamgayata vishnu gataha. He says, I pray that if again I take birth, this is his desire. Normally in material world, before they hang somebody, you might have seen in movie, do you have any last wishes? So here Parishit Maharaj, even without being asked, he is saying, what are his last wishes? He asks 3 things. This is very important. You will see similar mood being expressed by so many great devotees of the Lord. When Krishna walks along with Balaram on the streets of Mathura, when he comes from Vrindavan, at that time he goes to different shops. He goes to a florist, a garland maker, who immediately greets them, understanding about their supreme position. He welcomes them, makes them seated comfortably, and then he offers the best garlands to both of them. And you will see the garland maker, he would actually offer beautiful prayers along the similar lines. Parashit Maharaj, in his prayers, he says, I have 3 desires. If I'm born again, terms and conditions apply. He says, if I'm born again, I should have attachment to unlimited Lord Krishna. That's the first boon he is asking. If I'm born again, I should have attachment to Krishna. I should have association for his devotees. And third thing he's saying, I should have friendly relations with all living beings. Now, if we think about it, these three things, even as a practicing sadhakas, unlimited attachment to Krishna is something we all can relate to, because that level is only on Kanishta platform. People who can see the deities and they can have relationship only with the deities. These are the personalities who would somehow or other won't follow the queue, push the devotees around, cause nuisance to others simply because they want to actually take the best possible darshan in the temple. These are the personalities who want to cooperate with Janmashtami is coming soon. These are the personalities who want to cooperate with the devotees doing the thankless task of security service. These are the personalities who would see everyone else as nuisance. That's the Kanishta platform. So that's the first thing, which is I should have attachment to unlimited Lord Krishna. This is okay. The second part is something we struggle with, which is, oh my Lord, I want association with the devotees. Not all of them, but some of them, my Lord. Already our standard is getting diluted there. Standard or aspiring standard to be a pure devotee of the Lord, it gets diluted there. Pure devotees see, they understand that different devotees are in different platform, but their appreciation for devotees will be more than that little act of discrimination for who they should associate and who they should not associate with. Whereas in our standard, first our discrimination part is more than the appreciation. Like if we think about the devotees, and if I ask you this question, and if you answer this yourself, do you have more good examples or more neutral examples? We normally, our mind will say, I have only very few good examples. Many are okay, but there's a good many also are very bad. We think like that. So the discrimination part is more than appreciation part. So that is something we need to work on. This is the second aspect of the prayers. He's saying, I want association with the devotees. Now, finally, this is very important, something which even experienced mature devotees sometimes can even fail or sometimes tend to ignore. Friendly relations with all living beings. All living beings. We were discussing praja. Whoever has taken birth in the kingdom becomes the responsibility of the king. And that living being, it can be a worm, can be a dog, can be a parrot, can be anybody. They are all prajas. We see even in the stories when Parashit Maharaj was born, he was compared to the astrologers. They compare, they predict about his future. They even say about how his qualities will be on par with all the epitome of those qualities. How he'll be as stable as the Himalayas. He'll be so merciful like Ashutosh, Lord Shiva, so on and so forth. We see. So here, friendly relations with all the living beings. One of the comparison that's given how much he'll actually protect others. The example is given as is compared to Shibi. Maharaj Shibi, once there was a vulture that was chasing after a pigeon. The pigeon came and took his shelter, and then a vulture or an eagle. To protect the pigeon, King Shibi asks, so what is it that I can actually do to let you spare the life of this pigeon? Then he says, if I get something equivalent, I'll be fine. Then Shibi starts to put the pigeon in one side of a balance, and on the other side, he start to cut flesh from his own body and start to put one after the other, because he understood as a king, it is his responsibility to take care of humans, to take care of pigeons as much as he does humans, and for that matter, take care of all the living entities. So this third part, he's saying friendly relations with all living beings. That includes cockroach, that includes mosquitoes, that includes people who don't practice Krishna consciousness. That includes even people who are against Krishna consciousness. friendly relations has to be maintained. Parishit Maharaj himself exemplified that. When he raised the sword few times, not just once. First, as soon as he sees, he raises the sword when Kalipurush is actually punishing. Then he comes and asks the question to Dharma, again ready to kill Kalipurush. When Dharma didn't give a straight answer, now he deciphers what must have happened here. Again, he raises the sword. At which point, right at that point, Kalipurush immediately shutting down all the, throws away the crown, throws away the garments of a king, and with the simple clothes fall at his lotus feet. And at that point, it's given Parishit Maharaj, until that point, who was ready to unleash his fury, Kshatriya fury. As soon as Kalipurush took a shelter of him, the verse is actually saying that he compassionately looked at them. How can you be ready to kill a person, like 1 second, 1 moment, immediately next moment you look at the person with compassion? Goes to show that Parishit Maharaj didn't take anything personally. He was doing a thankless task as much as Yamaraj is actually punishing. He is one of the 12 Mahajanas. Which Vaishnava will feel very happy killing other living entities or punishing other living entities? The definition of Vaishnava, Titikshava, Karunika, Shuhridam, Sarvadehinam, Ajata Shatravasanta, Sadhava, Sadhubhushana. Titikshava, Karunika, they are an embodiment of mercy. Paradukha Dukhi. When they look at Paradukha means when they see other people go through distress, they feel distress. That is the only distress for a Vaishnava. Now, how is Yamaraj's job description? It's a completely diagonally 180 degrees opposite to all these qualities. Nevertheless, he is still called as a Mahajana. So how do we reconcile this? That Yamaraj is doing a thankless task. He is being told by the Supreme Lord to administer this duty. He is doing. Same thing even for Durga Devi. We see Durga Devi being sometimes even mentioned in the Shastras or even in songs, Vaishnava songs, you will see, what are you doing sitting on the lap of that witch? It's given like that. But actually, she's our mother. We are taking Mahaprasad only because of Durga Devi. Prabhupada says, Lord Shiva and Parvati, they are our material parents. That's why she is known as Amba. Amba means mother. When Maharaj Chitraketu is cursed by Mother Parvati, he addresses her as Amba. He accepts that, oh my dear mother, thank you for the curse, and he goes away. So she's our mother. So we have to understand, even though her form and the duty that she is doing is thankless, she still has so much love for all her children, irrespective of whether they are demons, demigods, anybody. And there are so many instances you will see Mother Parvati coming and showing special favor to devotees. When Jadabharat was arrested by Kali worshippers and they were tied, he didn't protest. And they brought him to the sacrificial altar. And when the head priest was ready to chop his head like a guillotine, he was raising the sword to cut his head. At that time, Bhagavatam says Mother Kali couldn't hold it anymore. The deity of Kali burst open, and from inside, Mother Kali herself came, took the sword, the chopper, chopped off the head of the person. It's like a movie scene. Chopped off the head of the one who was going to cause the harm to Jadabharat, who is a pure devotee, and she didn't spare the life of anyone. Yes, she is angry, but she is also very much concerned for all those worshippers also. Because if they dare to even cause a slight scratch, they have to suffer in hell. God knows for how long, because they are harming a pure devotee. So when we see the mood, that's where we can actually relish the different characters. Otherwise, prayers would look very dry. When we approach the prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam, we should try to put ourselves in the shoes of the worshipper. So here Parishit Maharaj is asking for three things: attachment to unlimited Krishna, association of his devotees, and friendly relations with all the living beings. Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante rati prasangas chathadashrayeshu mahatsu yam upayami srishtim maitrestu sarvatra namo dvidyejaha. So he is saying, if I have to take birth again, that's a big if, but if I have to take birth again, may I be attached to the unlimited Krishna, May I have association of his pure devotees, and may I have friendly relations with all the living entities. Then he has entrusted already all his kingdom with his son Janamejaya. And now, when all the sages and the demigods present, they see his mood of detachment, ready to embrace death. Normally, anybody who's cursed, they'll be scared. How many instances have we come across in the scriptures? Somebody getting cursed, immediately they'll go fall at the feet of the person and say, "Oh, please, forgive me." And then you would always see this description that's said, words that have actually left one's lips is the same as the arrow that has left the bow. It can never be retracted back. But I will tell you how you can counteract this, or how you can atone for your sin and still be reinstated to your position. This is what. How often have we come across instances when somebody is cursed and they are still very cool? We see Chitraketu Maharaj, again another pure devotee. We see Parishit Maharaj, again another pure devotee. Pure devotees, they don't bother about any of these curses. In fact, when Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed to be born as this big demon Vritrasura by Mother Parvati, Chitraketu Maharaj gets off from his airplane, bows down. Mother Parvati addresses her as Amba, mother, thanking for her curse, gets up and he goes. He's not scared. At that time, Lord Shiva turns towards Mother Parvati and he says, "Oh, my dear, beautiful wife, there's no match for your beauty in all the 14 planetary systems. But this act of this pure devotee, the beauty of that surpassed even your beauty." Like that he says. And then he says the famous verse, Narayana Parasarve, Na Kutaschana Bibhyati, Swarkapavarka Narakeshu, Apitulyartha Darshinaha. Those who are worshippers of Narayana, it doesn't matter whether they are in Swarga, Apavarka, Narakeshu, whether they are in Swarga or higher planetary system, middle, or even Narakeshu, lower planetary system. It doesn't matter. They are always in bliss because they are 24/7 engaged in service of Lord Narayana. And that's what happens when Vritrasura comes. He is still being a very pure devotee of the Lord. He has to actually do a lot of preaching from demon's body to Indra, because Indra was given the weapon to attack him. But then Indra was thinking, this is such a huge weapon. What will this Vajra do? When he is doubting that, Vritrasura at that time tells him, hey, the weapon you are holding, that weapon was actually fashioned based on the word and instructions of Vishnu himself. Because that weapon was made of bones of Dadichi. Now, in order to do that, Vishnu himself actually tells the demigods, so go and ask for charity for that sage's bones. Then when they go and ask that to the sage, sage very happily gives. His soul lives, goes back to Godhead, and then he allows his bones to be used. With that bone, they make this weapon. Now, Indra, when he is holding that, after being instructed by Vishnu, this whole episode finishes. Indra is still doubting because Vritrasura is just way too big to even be conceived of being killed. And then Vritrasura encourages Indra, don't doubt the words of Vishnu, come on, use it against me and kill me. And then you will see very exemplary, in an exemplary way, how Vritrasura, he is like completely absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Lord. Even with that powerful Vajra weapon, it took 1 full year for Indra to cut off his head. That's how powerful Vritrasura was. So the demigods, they praised about this total detached mood of Parikshit Maharaj. Since the sages, they are naturally inclined to do good to people, they express their approval, telling to Parikshit Maharaj, you are such an exemplary king, and now you are also teaching the whole world not only how to live, but how to die. Uttama Shloka Gunabhirupam. The Uttama Shloka Gunabhirupam means they use this word to describe about Parishit Maharaj. Normally, the word Uttama Shloka is used choice poetry. Uttama Shloka, that Supreme Lord who is glorified with choice poetry. But here it's given Uttama Shloka Gunabhirupam, because Parishit Maharaj had always spent his time describing, talking, inquiring about the glories of the Supreme Lord. He is also endowed with the godly qualities. So this word is used, Uttama Shloka Guna, qualities of the Supreme Lord. Uttama Shloka Gunabhirupam means he is endowed with such godly qualities. All the sages, they gave approval to Parashit Maharaj's plan and they glorify him. They said, it is not astonishing that you who were born in Pandu dynasty, which is strictly in line of Lord Krishna, immediately gave up the royal throne to achieve eternal association of the Lord. Bhagavat Parshvakama. So it's not astonishing. You are anyway coming from this great lineage of Pandavas who is coming, who have always been in line with Lord Krishna's instruction. So it's not very astonishing that you are able to give up. We still appreciate you. Now, next verse is very important. The sages were so much convinced about Parashit Maharaj's position. Until this point, they don't know that Śukadeva Gosvāmī is going to arrive. They simply came to take the association of Parashit Maharaj. They say, okay, now that we have all come, we know what a great pure devotee you are. We will all wait here for the next 7 days to witness your glorious passing away. Can you imagine? These sages, how much they value their time. One story is given of Lomasha Rishi. He would live for literally hundreds of thousands of years. It is said that almost like he would live for those many years, as many hairs are there in his body, those many years. And his whole body is covered with the hair. When once Indra goes and asks him, why are you not even, you're always staying in the forest, why don't you just build like an ashram, like a small hut? He says, my life is very short, I don't want to waste it. That's how much they value their time. Those sages, not just one or two, from all the planetary systems, they have come and they are saying, we shall all wait here until the foremost devotee, Bhagavata Pradhana, they understand the supreme position of Parashit Maharaj. Until the foremost devotee, Parikshit, returns to the supreme planet, which is free from mundane contamination or passion, Virajaskam, and lamentation, Vishokam. Normally, when a soul leaves and this planet and going back to the spiritual world, many instances you might have seen in movies, in some cartoon movie, in Shastras also, so many instances you will see how Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, or even the Apsaras, they all throw flower petals while the soul is actually going. Here, simply seeing Parashit Maharaj's conviction, they already started to throw petals. That's how convinced they were about the supreme position of Parashit Maharaj. So this is verse 21. We'll continue the second half of this chapter in our next session. And with that, first canto will be over, and then we'll move to the second canto. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.